Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Bret Baier. President Obama is stepping up the fight inside Syria. He's sending around 50 special operations forces to the civil war-racked country, directly contradicting earlier vows not to put American boots on the ground there. The decision comes as foreign ministers from the U.S., its allies, plus Iran and Russia gather in Austria to try to find a way out of the quagmire. We have Fox Team coverage. Benjamin Hall in Vienna tells us what, if anything, was accomplished today. But we begin with correspondent Kevin Corke at the White House and what many see as a significant mission creep in the Middle East. Good evening, Kevin.
Hey, Brett, good evening to you. Despite defiantly dismissing suggestions that this is, in fact, a classic case of mission creep, White House officials tonight suggest that this evolving strategy in Syria is simply a reflection of conditions on the ground. For the White House, this latest shift in Syria strategy has been months in the making, beginning with a meeting between the president and Pentagon officials back in July. The newest plan authorizes that up to 50 special ops forces be sent to northern Syria, creates a joint special operations task force with the Iraqi government in Baghdad. The plan also calls for the deployment of A-10 and F-15 aircraft in Turkey and for additional anti-ISIS assistance for coalition partners in Jordan and Lebanon. The White House says the special operators will be on the ground only to advise and assist, but could face combat situations. While the White House says the deployment is not much more than an enhancement in its current strategy, critics question that characterization, noting the president himself has said repeatedly that he would not go down this road.
My answer is simple. I will not put American boots on the ground in Syria. I will not pursue an open-ended action like Iraq or Afghanistan.
Today, administration officials said the situation is different than it was in 2013, but the mission is not. Would you acknowledge or reject the notion that this is mission creep by any definition? And if you reject it, how do you explain that to the American people?
Kevin, the mission hasn't changed.
Mission creep occurs when the mission changes, when the mission expands, when the mission becomes something that it wasn't at the outset. There's no change to the strategy.
But on Capitol Hill, leaders from both parties strongly disagreed. Republican Congressman Mac Thornberry of Texas saying, quote, "I do not see a strategy for success. Rather, it seems the administration is trying to avoid a disaster while the president runs out the clock." Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat from Virginia, said it is time for Congress to do its most solemn job, to debate and declare war. Many experts remain skeptical.
I'm disgusted. No, I'm not angry. I'm disgusted. They may be really bad options, but if they're the only ones you've got left, they're the ones you use because you passed up everything else. We've passed up a lot of stuff.
Bret, the White House continues to make the argument, the fact that this is not a large-scale, indefinite combat operation, that any parallels between what's going on now and what happened under the Bush administration in Iraq and Afghanistan simply is invalid. But by any definition, American forces will face combat circumstances both on the ground and in the skies above. Bret?
Kevin Corke live on the North Lawn. Kevin, thank you.